we're out here again, doing whatever we can to get something closer to being done. It's the name of the game at the moment. We're now on to getting that motor somewhat closer to being done. So yeah, we've got the pump here. So this is just a standard volume Mellings oil pump. What we're going to do with this pump, so the reason I've gone to standard volume too is Cleveland's are pretty notorious for punching a lot of oil through. A lot of the time a standard volume Cleveland pump is more than enough for, especially for something like this, but even higher RPM setups, more performance sort of base shit. So yeah, this standard volume Mellings pump will probably do the trick. So what I'm doing here, as you can see, there's a lot of die grinders and shit, is what I'm going to do is actually clean up inside here. So it's probably hard to see, but around the bottom it's all pretty rough and shitty, so I'll clean all that up, and then what I'm going to do is where the pickup tube goes in, going to try and radius that a bit just to help the flow of oil into the pump. And then on this side I'm probably just gonna, there's a little bit of a corner there, I might just knock a little bit of that out to help it through, because that's where the plunger is for the bypass. And yeah, I've got to sort of keep this front edge here down in there, because that's where the plunger rests against. So if I go grinding that away, it means the plunger can come forwards, which then really doesn't sit where it needs to be and defeats the whole purpose of the idea. So yeah, so clean up everything. Probably doesn't need to be done on this engine, but it's just peace of mind. So that's what I'll do. And then what I'll also do is check to see if this outfeed hole lines up with the block, make sure that's all correct, and there's no sort of step or anything. Say if the one on the block sits out a bit, this needs to be made so that the oil will pass through, or if it's the other way around, if this is small, I can grind this out to then match going back into the block properly. Once I'm sort of happy with what I've got, I'll touch back and sort of show you what I've come up with. It's all cleaned out inside, everything's nicely radiused, tidied up. There's also a big lip or edge in here. I'm guessing they were thinking it was going to be a stopper, but the threads, even the stock thread on a stock pickup doesn't even reach it, so got rid of that, because that's just stopping, well, it's not stopping the oil, but it's just something else the oil's got to try and make it up over. Is it going to make a huge difference? Probably not, but anyway, it's done now. So yeah, cleaned up all in there, and then I've also cleaned up this side, tapered it in around the plunger. Also what I did was bang the Welsh plug out of the side here, took the spring out, took the plunger out, and went up there with some just emery cloth, and didn't need to get overly excited because it is taking material off, but as you can see, this is basically fallen in. The only reason it's stopping is because it's hooking on my finger, but yeah, that was actually grippy when I first took it out, so that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So yeah, I usually do that with me pumps anyway, because I have had one stick before. Did an event, put it on the trailer, happy days, started up off the trailer, no oil pressure. So yeah, pulled the motor out just to flick it over, take this off, and then just flick it with a screwdriver. So yeah, that was a fucking shit day, but anyway. So yeah, cleaned all that out, but also just tried to retain that edge there, so that the plunger still goes back to its original spot. And then yeah, cleaned down in further, and then I also went even down further. Had to tape this area off, cover the whole motor over, and basically seal the whole motor off. It's not a good idea to do it on a built engine or an assembled engine. Usually you do it before you send it away, but I didn't even think about this. So yeah, the hole on the block was way smaller than what the actual pump was, so it was another massive big step. So yeah, doing all this work here is pretty pointless if you're going to run into that. So drilled it out, made it bigger, and then also got in there with the die grinder and just tidied it all up, radius the corners and the edges, so now it just flows straight through, out into here, straight into the filter. And yeah, so that's pretty much that. So yeah, I could probably do a bit better here, but I'm not going to. For the most part, that will shoot just straight out into where it needs to be. So yeah, probably over the top for this engine, but at least this stuff's sort of been done in case we do go bigger and better one day. Don't know if it'll ever happen, but it's always that possibility. Also, if this thing gets its ass revved out of it, at least it's got half a chance of surviving. So also, I'm just doing this stuff, teaching myself each time I build an engine, trying different things, trying new methods just to try and build a better engine. And this is also the first engine I've done for someone besides myself, so I want to do a good job. So that's where we're at. So all I got to do now is I'm going to look at the base around here, because that's pretty fucking piss poor. The bolts are only sort of really only sitting on one corner, so I'm going to grind them flat so that yeah, they sit down and pull down on the whole base, not just one little piece, because it's all fucking jagged and shit. So a little bit disappointing there, but for the most part, still a pretty good pump. So once that's done, then yeah, I could probably start looking at setting up pickups, trying to figure out sumps, heights of everything, and start looking at getting that close to being finished. And then yeah, it's just a matter of wait for the cam stuff, which is on the way. Degree the cam, make sure that's all correct in the spec. And then yeah, basically timing cover and all that shit can go on, and then the sump can go on. So that's sealed at least the bottom half of the block up, and then yeah, we've just got to work on the heads. So making moves. So yeah, I'm not sure when I'll get it done, but we'll try and get it done as soon as possible so I can get on to more stupid ideas. I thought I'd show this while I'm on the run. So got the pump sort of bolted down just for the minute, cleaned all the base up so the bolts actually now pull flat. They were pretty ordinary before, so yeah, cleaned them up. That's now right. Put the pickup on just roughly at the moment. Had to give this bracket a bit of a tweak just to get it to line up with the angle of the actual pump itself. First thing I did was I actually measured from the base of the sump, so right in the bottom there, all the way up to the gasket rail, about 212. Grab the ruler for the pump, well the pickup, sorry, and yeah, you look at it, and it's about 190, which it's not going to focus, so yeah, about 190, thereabouts. So there's what, 22 mil, way too far off the bottom. So I would like it within probably the 5 to 10 mark, thereabouts, just so it is picking up off the bottom. So yeah, if I can get it to at least, I don't know, within 10 mil of the bottom, I'll be happy, because it's actually pulling from the bottom of the sump. There's no point in having that big a sump and you're only pulling from the top. So anyway, that means yeah, maybe just a little bit of work here. Looking at it, I might be able to heat the tube up, bend him around, try and get him a bit sort of straighter and further up, but also keep its place because it does fit in the sump. And also try and make this bracket work. This bracket will be pretty simple. Yeah, there's not much into it. The only thing is it's probably a little bit flimsy. So I may do something there to tidy the whole lot up. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, we just need to fix the height up and get that sorted, and then decide to chuck the sump on. I'll try it with one hand. Fits down over, sitting up at the moment, so you give it a bit of a rock, it sits down. But yeah, it's hard up against the pump at the moment, and she's a bit off on the holes. So I can get the back to pretty well line up, that's no worries. These ones are bloody close. Yeah, these ones, as you can see, still ways off when it focuses. So yeah, something just to keep in mind, have a look at when you go putting this shit together is, yeah, pickup height to your sump, and then also make sure your sump's going to fit over your pickup and your pump. So I'll probably just do a bit of panel beating here, try and stretch it out to get it to clear the pump, try not to wreck the welds. The other thing I'll probably do this sump is all these baffles and whatnot. What I'll do is probably stitch weld, so probably get the TIG out, clean all the oily shit off, and run a couple of beads on these bits, couple here, couple there, and definitely one at the front there. Try and get that nice and stable, because yeah, I don't want any loose shit in there. So that's the idea for that one. So yeah, I'll get that done before this finally goes on. But yeah, I'll try and get it to fit over this thing first. The sump now fits. Where they've drilled the holes could have been probably a little bit better, but it is a cheap sump, so it's to be expected. But anyway, yeah, so that's come up all right now. So yeah, I ended up grinding out a bit off this edge here. So it was just this lip that was causing the stoppage. So yeah, sump's now fitting good. So yeah, I'll just have to get back onto this thing, get it all right, and yeah, go from there. So getting there slowly. The original bracket was this one here. So just a piece of, I don't know, a little bit of flat, pretty flimsy looking thing, and like it does, put in the vise, doesn't really take much effort at all. So to bend that one, so did a bit of CAD, and this is what we've got. So a bit more sturdy. Thought I'd cut the center out. Also, I didn't want a big flat plate in there. It's just a shelf for oil to sort of sit on, slow it down from getting it back to right there. So yeah, you put this in the vise, and I'm fucking reefing off that, and it ain't moving. And there's definitely not that much width in it. Like, as you can see, it's pretty much the same as that bracket, but yeah, twice as strong. So the idea is, yeah, it'll go off the bottom of the oil pump. So I'm gonna have to get a couple of longer bolts just for the oil pump cover, just so it goes through both thicknesses. And yeah, that pretty much goes on there somewhere like that, probably more like that. And then yeah, bolts to the pump and all that sort of stuff. So this is another one of those jobs where I start getting close, and then I start getting picky. I muck around with things, and then it fucking snowballs and turns to shit. Wasn't quite happy with how the little box for the pickup was sitting. It was higher one end than the other, and I want it as level as possible. So anyway, mucking around with that, I ended up basically, yeah, trashing it. And yeah, so we've ended up with this. So it's all bent up and whatnot, no worries. I've cut the mesh off because I'm going to reuse it. One thing I noticed was when I looked in here, so that hole there is the pickup tube. So as you can see, that's a fairly small hole. Fuck it, we'll measure it. That hole is 10 mil, basically. Which then, you look at the pickup tube. Same thing, 10 mil. A little bit bigger on this end, but not by much. So that probably only gets larger towards this end because they've probably machined this or did something. I don't know how they exactly do this one. But anyway, this end and pretty much all the way through will be 10 mil. So nice solid piece of tube, shit hot, no worries. But the problem is you get a stock pickup like this one here. So yes, the end's all fucking gunked up and it looks like shit. And that's half the reason why I don't want to use it. But you look at the size of that hole there. So measure him up. You've got basically 15 mil. So there you go, you've got 5 mil less with this. So me being picky, who knows, this might flow more than enough for this engine and work forever and happy days. But at the end of the day, I don't go to all the trouble of radiusing corners, opening things up, getting oil to flow into things, and making sure everything's gonna keep up with oil, just to restrict it straight away at the start of the whole deal. So basically this will be restricting oil straight off the bat. So fucking terrible idea in my opinion. So yeah, last thing you'd want to do is build a motor that you're really doing some work with and you want oiling to be as best as it can, because you basically, if you buy this pickup, it's going to end up restricting your oil straight away. You would have been better with a stock tube. The only difference with this is it doesn't fit with the new sump, and I don't have a bending tool to actually bend this into shape. So otherwise I would have just chopped this up and then bent it to match the shape of that. It's me just being picky. We're right towards the end, but I'm not confident in it. So yeah, that's that. And then you can use Chrysler pickup, but it's smaller again. So it's only probably, I'll say 12, 13 mil. So yeah, don't really want to use that, even though it's got some bends already in it that could probably work. So I have to come up with a plan, find some tubing, or do something to where I can now build a new pickup tube. And we'll start again. So the idea is I'm going to reuse this mesh because that's exactly what I want for the bottom. So I was happy with this setup. I just trashed it. Probably a good thing because now I found this problem out. I couldn't see that when it was all together. Bit of a downer, but it does pay to sort of check this shit. So yeah, nice and solid. Isn't going to break, isn't going to fatigue, snap off, no worries. But I just don't feel confident with that smaller passage, because it basically, to me, looks like oil restriction straight away. Last thing you want to do with your primary feed to everything, because the whole deal starts here. Figure that out, and yeah, touch back in when we have this problem resurrected.